What's happening, YouTube? It's your homie S. Dot coming back to you with another video. Today is going to be a quick deck profile for Jesmon for the BT7 format. This is a deck that I definitely am a heavy main for. If you guys know me, I love my Jesmon. I love the Digimon himself in general. And then I just love the design of him and the deck and how it works. And, you know, riding with this deck until we get the BT8 and Savior unfortunately goes to 1, and then we'll put the deck up for a while until we get the structure deck, and hopefully we get another Savior that's decent or good, and you know, see what the new Jesmon does. So I plan on taking this deck probably to the event in Arlington, Texas. I do plan on potentially testing red hybrid as well, and yellow hybrid. Those are my other top decks I'm potentially thinking about taking. But yeah, I wanted to give you guys my thoughts about Jesmon right now in the current format, and then my current side deck for the deck as well, and show you guys my thoughts behind the deck. Not a ton has changed, but of course we'll get into that once we start the deck profile. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about it. And starting off with our eggs here, we have 4 BT7 and 1 Digimon. The main thing to say about this is, remember those high numbers we were talking about? Why is this so unnecessary that Jesmon's getting to these high numbers? Well, that really matters. The 16K threshold is decent for decks that are playing Omnimon Zwart, you know, that has the 15K, or any other deck that has 15K in general. You pass that threshold, but the main reason why you definitely want BT7 is because Yellow Hybrid is one of the top decks in this format, and their security Digimon get buffed insane by Zephyrmon, Zoe, and then the 2-cost TK. So you want to hit that 20K threshold and get those high absurd numbers nowadays with BT7, and just like, you know, try to do the best you can to get over the Ribbon's Breath, so you wouldn't die to Ribbon's Breath immediately and things like that. And then Digimon is also a flex spot. It sucks when you have to hatch this early. I think that's the only other potential downside I can see of it, because like your opponent's not going to have 5 or more cards in their trash that soon. But if you do hatch this later on, what I like about this over Yokomon or any other plus 1K Digimon is the simple fact that it'll be 1,000 whether you're attacking it to a Digimon or a player. So you won't have to have Yokomon and be like, dang, I just want to attack him directly, but I need the plus 1K or whatever. But again, most of the time you should be hopefully at 16K minimum if you have a CL, and if you don't, well, you're 14K, and then you have to kind of be careful, because you could definitely run into, I guess Susanomon's another grand big 15K you have to worry about. And that's another thing, because Susanomon's 15K, 1 Zoe makes Susanomon 18K, so you really want to try to get to a pretty high number with Jesmon, because that can just kind of ruin your day and just stop all of your momentum. We're going to talk about our rookies. Of course, a lot of them are simple. We got 4 Huckmon, the original Huckmon, still one of the best searches in the game, next to Bokomon. Bokomon is competing for that spot. Card is very good as well. We have 4 of the new Huckmon, and then we have 3 Gyomon. So what it is about the 4 new Huckmon, something to note is that it is a 4-cost, so it sucks to hard play, but let's say you do have a Jesmon out. If your opponent is playing black and they happen to be playing Ultimate Flare for whatever the case is, or the side decking or whatever, because that card is definitely still really good against Jesmon. You know, this is a 4-cost, so that's potentially relevant, that you don't just lose everything and this doesn't die. And ultimately, so its effect is it's inheritable rather, is it has 3K DP too, which is nice. 3K lives a lot in this format. But once per turn when attacking, you may reveal the top 5 cards of your deck and add every Digimon with Sistermon in their name to your hand. So the one unfortunate thing about this is that, you know, any other thing that you hit, like any level 5s that you're looking for, like your Savior especially, you feel bad about, or Jesmon, or really anything else, they all go to the bottom. But you're on the bright side, you are able to hit all your sisters and add. So if you hit 5 sisters, you add all 5 sisters to your hand, which is really nice. And then next up we have the new Gyomon as well. No, excuse me, not new Gyomon. The well, I guess it's a new Gyomon, but the Gyomon from the Gallantmon structure deck. When one of your opponent's Digimon are deleted, you're able to draw a card. So I was toggling between this and Gyomon, and honestly, for now, it seems like a lot of the times I'm deleting a Digimon, whether it's with Bauhuck's inheritable, or I'm using Judgement of the Blade on Jesmon, or they just simply have a a guy that survive the check or whatever, so I'll be able to just swing over it easily the following turn. Obviously Biomon's pretty easy to proc as well, but I found a lot of times when I had Biomon, I was trying to attack a Digimon, and like I had Judgment of the Blade, so I'm attacking Digimon twice, so I would never even attack them directly to be able to draw the card. It was a waste of an inheritable. So I figured, I was like, you know what, I feel like most of the time bang for my buck is better with the Gyomon, and that's really all there is to say about that. I'm playing 11 rookies total. I do have memory boosts in the deck that will also help with it, and I had to kind of compensate and make some cuts in some places for the new cards we're going to talk about. Next up, we have for our Systemon package, we have 2 Systemon CL, and then 1 Systemon CL Awakened, and then we have 3 Systemon Blanc, and then 2 Systemon Blanc Awakened. So one thing to note about the Awakens, first of all, is they do have a 2 to Digivolve over a level 4 for the CL, and 2 to Digivolve over a level 3 for the Awaken. So Awaken can Digivolve over Awaken, and then obviously your Blanc, and then same with the CL over the CL. So that's notable that you actually get a potential outlet of digging through your deck that way. And then what they do is on play, you may add a Systemon Blanc or Systemon CL respectively from your hand to trash under this Digimon to Awaken recovers one, which is so odd in a red deck, but that's cool. And then in the CL Awaken deletes a Digimon with play cost 5 or less. So there is argument that CL Awaken is not needed because you have Bowhuck and that kind of already does what you want it to do. But I feel like I'm imagining scenarios where if my opponent does have a flood of Digimon on the field, and because Jesmon is so slow, they do get to have all these bodies out in the field. We'll picture a turn where, and it's not far-fetched or Christmas land at all, you'll be able to Judgment of the Blade, attack one of the Digimon, you know, you play a CL, or you play the CL Awaken, you go Bowhuck, pop one of their you know, 5k DP or less Digimon. Then CL also pops something else, so you just got 3 kills out of 1 swing, and then Jesmon also gets to swing again. You know, if they have another Digimon, they're losing 4 Digimon potentially in that turn, and that's better than that's a board wipe while using your Digimon versus using, like, you know, Atomic Blaster or Giga Storm. I'm not saying those cards are potentially warranted, but that's how I'm thinking about it right now. There are also some times where I feel like I don't want to be so caught up in whenever I play an Awaken to always put the, you know, corresponding sister under it, because sometimes, you know what, CL Awakens can still come out from Savior, it can still come out from Jesmon and not use the effect, and then now CL along with a Blanc is just simply a 6k blocker, which is obviously better than being a 5k blocker. So you have a whole bunch of you know, thresholds and ratios to you know, consider. I would definitely be careful when you're playing the, you know, Awakens and then utilizing their effects, because sometimes it might not be warranted. And then last but not least, to speak on them, on deletion, you're able to add a Systemon, Huckmon, or Jesmon back to your hand from your trash, except for the, you know, CL Awaken or the Block Awaken, so they can't recur themselves, but very, very strong. You can get back your, you know, Searcher Huckmon and, you know, continue to progress your turn that way. Next up, we have for Bowhuckmon and for Greymon, not a ton to say here, except for I know the champion count is low, but I swear I draw champions like it's my day job. I don't understand why it happens so often. It's the most annoying thing ever. I was playing 10, like with either whether it was Monochromon or, like, you know, Geograys I was mixing in here. Sometimes I would take out a Greymon and play 3 Geograys, and I was playing 10 for a while. And a couple of months, or like a month or so leading up to Nationals, for some reason I just kept drawing champions like constantly, like champion after champion after champion, multiple games, and it started to become really noticeable. It wasn't one of those things I've had people tell me, oh, you're only noticing it because, like, you're looking for that to notice or whatever, so of course you're gonna notice it. No. Yeah, I wish I would have wrote this stuff down. I didn't really have anything to prove anybody. I know what the issue was. I constantly kept drawing them, and I don't know why, but it was the most annoying thing ever. I feel like these are the only ones I want to see, and I feel like 8 is also enough. So that's really all to say about that, rather. And then, of course, you still have the Huckmons that can search for your Bowhucks anyway. So I haven't had an issue actually with 8 yet, so, you know, we're going with it. Next up, of course, we have 4 Savior Huckmon. One of the main, well, this is the main part of the deck where everybody cannot stand, because you get to restand and have so much advantage by spawning more Systemons off of your Jesmon. But it has a very good main effect and inheritable. One thing you want to keep in mind about its main effect is if you have a tie, a Gravity Crush, or a red memory boost, and then you have a CL in hand, and you have a champion in your raising, you can actually go into Jesmon on the same turn. You can go raise your champion, Digivolve into Savior. Savior will bring out a CL, Savior will put you to 0. Then when you play the CL off of the Savior, you go back to 1 from the CL effect, and then you play Gravity Crush or Memory Boost to go back up to 3, and then you can Digivolve all the way up into Jesmon on that same turn. So you can kind of surprise your opponent, and they think they got you, you know, and they're not worried about too much, and then all of a sudden you can you know, pop off on that turn instead of waiting one more turn. So Savior Huckmon, definitely the homie. Unfortunately, he's 1-1, but it's okay. Really hoping, and I really feel like we're gonna get another Savior. And what's funny is that makes your Huckmon better, because we lose 3 Saviors, but then we gain 4 more Saviors. So now we have 5 Saviors potentially for Huckmon to search. So hopefully it's at least halfway decent. And you know, yeah. So Cross that bridge when we get to it. Next up, we're playing one more Grabmon and one Voltjamon. I wanted to play like the Blitz Asuramon. I wanted to potentially test. I tried Rise Greymon. I still don't like Rise Greymon, unfortunately. But the one Volk is good, and then the War Growl. Technically, Volk doesn't need any work to trigger. And we played like War Growl last format because Jwalt Schwarmer was such a big card, and he's an 8 cost. But now ultimately there are some potential turns where I might want to raise the War Growl early, and Bokomon is Inimini. I can't talk. This is Finding Nemo. Inimini. Bokomon is enemy number 1, so you can potentially get a lot of value with getting 2-for-1s by swinging this guy, and when he attacks, deleting 3k or less DP Digimon. Next up, we have, of course, the main star of the deck. This is what the deck is named after. It is called Jesmon, the Jesmon deck. Guy's insane. Keep in mind when you play a Digimon, so let's say you don't have any sisters, which would be really unfortunate, and he was in your raising. Well, you can raise him, and if you had a tie tamer and you started at 3, you can hard play a rookie, and do whatever, and then this will actually still trigger Jesmon's effect. So don't get too hopped up in thinking that you have to play a Systemon specifically in order to get the plus 3k boost and piercing. But yeah, and then also his effect to spawn a Systemon from your hand or the trash when attacking is not once per turn. So not too much more to say about this. You should all know what Jesmon does at this point. Card's insane, love it. And then next up for our level 7s, we have 2 Omnimon Blitz, and then we have 1 Antibody. So this is something that I definitely saw from Japan and a couple of deck lists that I wanted to try. Jesmon should be a popular deck going into the fest, so I feel like main deck in one of these. These slots, honestly, for the longest time were 1 Omni, but I always feel weird with only 1 Omni. And these 2 slots were like between Giga Force or Giga Storm, Gaia Force, etc. So I'm going to try these for now. I feel like I want this pressure against like Yellow Hybrid and things like that. And then sometimes even with the X Antibody, they won't be able to get rid of it, and they think they have game, and then all of a sudden, like if you have X Antibody over your Jesmon plus like 2 sisters or like a Blanca, whatever, you have a lot of negates and a lot of thresholds and ways to protect your security and preserve your game state to potentially push back and win next turn. And then something to also think about too is if they don't do 2 attacks and you negate twice, and you keep Savior under this, if you keep Savior under this, that can unsuspend any Digimon. So as long as you still have a sister out, this can, and his effect to when attacking, delete a Digimon that has equal to or less, is it equal to or less? So yeah, less than an equal to attack than him is not once per turn. So that's something to think about as well. Really, really good. Next up for our tamers, we have 3 Tai, and I don't think you ever want to play, I don't want to say ever play less than this. I think I can see myself going down to 2, but I've been playing 3 for the longest time, so I'm going to keep 3. It's really important to try to play this, especially if you have it early. Even if you have to give your opponent a good bit of memory, it's way better in the long run to invest in playing this earlier than later, because I've found myself, and I'm still trying to discipline myself, and I have a hard time with, I'm such a conservative player and trying to give my opponent as little memory as possible, but sometimes opponents' decks don't care about that, and they'll just do what they got to do or whatever. And yeah, like I said, playing this sooner than later most of the time is ideal, because in the long run it'll pay off always be able to have that 3 memory to start with. Next up, we have 3 Judgment of the Blade. So I was playing 2 for a while, but I'm going to play 3, and I'm actually side decking the 4, spoiler alert, because against Yellow Hybrid. Needless to say, Yellow Hybrid, when they have a Dynasmon out with a Zoe under it, or they have 2 Digimon with Zoe under it, and then they Digivolve the Zephyrmon as well, so like they're like, yeah, my security is plus 11k, because a TK, a Zephyr, and then 2 Zoes of the 2 of the Digimon, that can be really annoying. So the reason why it didn't make sense last format why Jesmon needed to get to 20k or 22k, some ridiculous number, unless you were playing against a Craniumon whose opponent also is playing Gogmamon to make their Craniumon super stacked. Well, outside of that reason, Yellow Hybrid is one of the mainstays in tier 1 decks of this format you can expect to see a good bit in a tournament as you're playing. This Judgment of the Blade will take care of those Digimon, especially Dynasmon. Being able to crack a Dynasmon that has a Zoe under it is so much value, because now they can't heal from that, and that's 3,000 less DP than their Digimon is at, and your Jesmon will be able to go to town. And of course, it's always good out of security. You can also potentially disrupt your opponent by hitting a Blanca, hitting this card and then getting Blanca Awakened and then recovering one. And all of a sudden, your opponent wasn't able to account for that, and then now you're potentially going to live, for another turn. Same with Awaken, can disrupt your opponent as well. And without throwing my cards, next up we're going to talk about the 2 red memory boosts. Not a ton to say about this. It's just an extender to help you find one of your red Digimon. I could consider this my 5th and 6th Jesmon. I could consider this my 5th and 6th Savior. I could consider this, or I guess 7th and 8th, level 6 technically, or level 5 rather. I can also consider this my 12th or 13th rookie. You see where I'm going with it. So a very good card, and also the delay effect is really good. Outside, of course, your opponent having a Jesmon or something on the board feels bad, but it is what it is. And last but not least, we have a Delicate Plan and then a Emergency Program Shutdown, aka Cold Wave for my Yu-Gi-Oh players. Just a one-on-one split of this, especially because we were able to use side decks. I also side deck one in one of each of them, and then you side deck accordingly, take out this one for a second Delicate, or take out this for a second Cold Wave against the matchup that you need him for, more specifically. And then going into the side deck, we're going to play another Antibody. I think this is an easy side out in Jesmon Mirrors. I'm not sure if I want this against any other matchup yet, but in Jesmon Mirrors, I would definitely take out one of the Blitz Omnis for a second Antibody, and because this card is just so good against the mirror match. And I will... I forgot exactly what else I was going to say. I lost my train of thought. But yeah, so there's one extra Antibody, and next up we're going to play 3 Agumon. So this Agumon is when attacking, not once per turn. When it's attacking a player, this Digimon gains 2,000 attack. So again, we're trying to get to those high numbers. This is an easy side out for the Guillaumons. Take out the Guillaumons for these 3 Agumons against Yellow Hybrid. So you can get to that absurd 20, 22k, 23k, or how much ever high, get the high score. Go for the high score against that deck so their security Digimon aren't, messing with you. Next up, we have 2 Gigastorm. So this is another card against Yellow Hybrid I want to test. I don't know if it's necessary though, because I'm playing the 4th Judgment of the Blade. I really want to focus on this deck, just kind of this being my removal with Jesmon in conjunction. But this is a 1-card removal. This card requires a Digimon to play. Sometimes you don't, usually always have a Digimon to play. So 4 might be overdoing it, but the Gigastorms are nice, against certain matchups where I feel like they kind of want to flood the board early, and I might try to find a good spot. That's one thing about these cards though, you really have to find, and you know what, I'm going to show you another card, spoiler alert. Not that it's a big deal, but a Gaia Force, this is just for the mirror match. I feel like I only want to see one, whether I get lucky and it's a security, or if they have a Jesmon out and it's like, dang, if I don't give it to that Jesmon, he's just going to attack me twice again next turn, etc. I play that as well. Not sure exactly what other matchups I wanted against right this second, but that's my idea with it. And again, I'm going to test to see if these cards are even necessary, but I don't want to get straight too far away from the main strategy and how the deck is built in terms of when I'm side decking. I just want some extra cards to potentially supplement here and there, to help out certain matchups. And then last but not least, like I already talked about, we got one more Cold Wave, Emergency Program Shutdown, and then another Delicate Plan. I feel like I'd rather have the second Delicate Plan against Yellow Hybrid and, to not deal with any Schwarz-Lahertz or Wyvern's Breaths, etc. And then I'd probably rather have the second Cold Wave against decks like any purple deck that's playing like Jesmon, etc., and that are really, really fast, and that are playing like, the Lilith Mod package. I hope y'all enjoyed the deck profile. I will have some more deck profiles coming up soon. I will have gameplay with this deck if you guys would like to see any of that. Make sure you like this video, so that'll be some non-verbal communication to let me know that y'all enjoyed the deck profile. And I'm going to stop talking and get up out of here. Y'all have a great day and or night whenever you're catching this video, and I will see y'all very soon. Again, if you guys are going to Arlington, definitely come and say what's up. You can get a flex shot, something like that. I'm always down to flex for the camera. And yeah, so without further ado, y'all have a great day and or night whenever you're catching this video. This is your homie S. Dot, heading out. Stay on your progression, no question. Peace.